Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. Today we're going to be talking about Ashe and really what's going on with her. We're in this interesting transition of a meta, in highest tiers at least, where GOATs is still being played a good amount less, and other DPS compositions are making their way into the game. We've spoken about this quite a lot, using Chengdu Hunters, looking at the highest tiers of like Master, Grandmaster. You're sort of seeing a change there. Even Baptiste is being played a good portion of the time. However, there is one hero in the pro scene in the stage that up until this week wasn't played once by any team in any comp, and that is Ashe. The gameplay in the background is the only time that Ashe has been picked up this stage. It was by London Spitfire against Philadelphia on the first point of Blizzard World. Literally nowhere else and nobody else picked up Ashe at this stage at all. Once they took the point and then switched over to Brigitte because, you know, GOATs. She has the lowest pick rate out of everyone this stage so far, including Mei, Symmetra, Torbjorn, Reaper, Doomfist as examples. Today we ask why she's been played so little when she's so good at many different things. Should we be playing her in competitive? Does she need buffing? Those kind of questions. We will take some stage 1 gameplay, showing off where Ashe was good before and why she isn't as good now, basically. But it does break down into several reasons why Ashe hasn't been played by the pros much in stage 2 and probably won't be picked up much at all in the future unless some significant changes come to the meta or to her specifically. The first reason is Soldier. It seems that teams aren't really sure what to do with 76 for a good portion of the time. It seems that they're still experimenting with him. For example, out of the other hit scans of Ashe, Widowmaker and McCree, at least the ones that we're using in this example, he had the better pick rate, better than Widowmaker. Week 2 that dropped, and it's dropped again in week 3 down to 3.9% from 11, so it's dipping quite dramatically. Where was he played? Well, in various situations. If you actually use the Omnic Meta website, which we will be using in this video, you can check out the website in the description below if you want to see for yourself, but you can look through each of the map types and see basically where Soldier was picked up. A little bit on Control, not an awful lot on Hybrid, but we have seen him picked up on Paris as an example. He's most popular on Hybrid and least popular on Escort. His most popular map, surprisingly, is King's Row, followed by Blizzard World, which is where we saw Ashe being played. We can look at what teams have been played in, but I feel like that really takes away from the video. But you get a good idea on where he's played. It seems that it's personal preference and team preference, but was mostly used on Hybrid. Why is he a reason why Ashe is underperforming? Well, because teams are still experimenting with him. You know how much effect you can get out of him. Some players known for their Soldier play way back when, AKM of course is a firm example. Generally he's a lot more consistent, I would say, than Ashe, but I would have to say that the next two heroes that we're going to highlight are the main nails in the coffin for Ashe, at least in this meta. The second reason is Widowmaker. Widowmaker's popularity has also dipped a little bit for week 3 in comparison to week 2. Not as much as Soldier 76, but still a good amount to say that teams still aren't quite happy with Widowmaker in this meta, and it might continue to drop. Her pick rate was 33% in the first week, so considering that it's gone down to 7.5, might mean that she will slowly dwindle out. Where is she being played? Well, she's a sniper, therefore she's going to be picked in those sniper comps like Double Sniper and Bunker potentially. Her pick rate is pretty consistent across all the different map types, but one of her most popular map types is of course Anubis. But why is Widow being picked over Ashe? Well, it has a lot to do with instant damage. It's click and dead if you get those headshots in for a good portion of heroes, whereas Ashe doesn't really do that much damage at range and doesn't have a solid one-shot ability. Her forte is more damage over time with the dynamite and finishing off low targets, but the time for kill for pro play in comparison to say us in ranked is infinitely faster. There's a lot of focus on specific heroes, so having stuns and instant damage, kind of like how GOATs is really good at running people over, is all the rage. So heroes that can't do damage quickly at distance, in more of a long range sniper build, just aren't good to be used. Especially when you have Junkrat that you can put in there to do a lot of damage. Hanzo provides more information with the sonar arrow, and you even have like Soldier at the moment that's going to be doing a lot more better than Ashe. It's more about consistency, I'd say, and Widowmaker's time to kill is infinitely better than Ashe's, especially in the right hands. But the third reason, of course, is going to be McCree. It's the opposite end of the spectrum. McCree's pick rate has also fallen this week, but only by 1%. He was the least popular out of all of the heroes that we've highlighted so far, and really has been only used on Control and only on Oasis. We don't have the specific stats, but it's safe to assume that he's only been used on University, but he could be picked up on Gardens potentially and Center, but definitely University. That's his area. So his pick rate is definitely dictated by maps and areas of maps more so than the other heroes that we highlighted, but you may see him switched into an anti-dive composition if they've got a Sombra or anything like that. So why is McCree being played over Ashe in these areas? Well, he is the king of close quarters. CC Flashbang, Thunder Hammer, it keeps him in these very niche compositions, which is something that Ashe just doesn't really have in her arsenal. Widow controls long range, McCree controls short range, and Soldier is just in the middle really right now. We had Jane on the channel a couple of weeks ago saying how they've introduced kind of hybrid heroes in the game that kind of sit between different heroes that have those niches. For example, there was Reinhardt and Winston that were the only two main tanks in the game. So Blizzard came along with Orisa that was the stationary main tank. Hammond is another really good example on how they're trying to break the mold on what the main tank does. Baptiste is kind of similar for the supports to an extent, but Ashe is the most clear-cut example of them trying to be the middle ground between somebody like Widowmaker and somebody like McCree. The issue is that Widowmaker and McCree just do their jobs better than Ashe ever could. We've been called out in the past for using the jack of all trades, master of none, without including the next sentence, which is though oftentimes better than a master of one. And this is just a case where that isn't true. Ashe is a jack of all trades. She has close range combat, long range combat, and midway, but she doesn't excel in any of those areas that you would realistically pick her over Widowmaker or McCree in their given scenarios. Soldier 76 is kind of doing that at the moment, and even he's struggling a little bit. Another big complaint that I've seen people come up with is her reload. It takes about 4 seconds or so to fill up your weapon from 0 bullets to your max magazine. Kind of goes on to the question of should she be buffed in any way, and the kind of issue there is that you might turn her into a killing machine. I think this is just not the meta for her. Players haven't really had time to experiment with her being in compositions, realistically at least, to the point I think buffing her might be dangerous and she might become somewhat of a must pick. But should you be playing her in competitive? Oh, absolutely, if you're good at her. Having a quick look on Overwatch, you can see that her pick rate is fine. It's great actually for what it is, and there's certain reasons why that's the case. I mentioned time to kill and focus fire. Well, you don't really have that in competitive, and I think Ashe excels in causing chaos, especially with the dynamite. It is her most powerful bit of kit in my opinion, and if you're running into teams that are trying to run tanks or goats, you can completely decimate them if you play it correctly, and it realistically doesn't take much for you or your team to do that, so long as you have the skill and coordination to be able to pull it off, right? In fact, I really think people should be playing more of her. I would, but I'm just terrible at playing her. I'd be very keen to sort of look at the difference between pick rates in the pro scene, what heroes are performing poorly there, in comparison to what heroes are doing quite well in competitive, just to see why it's so different. And Ashe is very much the epitome of that, I find. And I, for one, are kind of content with her being really good in competitive and not used at all in the pro scene. I think Blizzard are bigger fish to fry. Not that I have anything against Ashe, I'd love to see her more in the actual pro scene. However, I guess that's just going to be the case when more heroes get added. There's just going to be better heroes to pick that will do their jobs better, and Ashe is the unfortunate symptom of that. But knowing that we're going to be getting more tanks and supports for the rest of this year most likely, that might be fine. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below, your reasons why you think Ashe is just not being played an awful lot, whether you play it in competitive, but I would love to talk to somebody that actually is well known for playing Ashe. So if you have some good ideas on people that I could talk to potentially for videos, let me know in the comments below, because I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head that's like the ML7 for Anna, the Yeatle for Hammond. You get the point. Thanks for watching guys, take care, and I'll see you next time.